Hey, guys, I want to talk about 5 reasons why we should never, ever give up. This is one of my favorite stories in the Bible, and it's the story of David and Goliath. I want you to see yourself in this story and realize that if David can do what he did, so can you. Now, first and foremost, this is the story of the underdog triumphing over the bully. It's a story where someone who is smaller, weaker, less experienced goes up against someone who is bigger, stronger, more experienced, and the small guy wins. That's what we see in sports all the time, right? The underdogs, the less talented team, somehow finds a way to defeat the Goliath, the big strong team. Why does the underdogs win sometimes? Because they have heart. They don't give up. They got something to prove. Nobody believes in them but themselves. And that's what we're going to talk about in this video. The idea that no matter how weak you are, no matter how strong your opponent is, never, ever give up. No. 2. This story teaches us about faith and courage. We see David's faith in God. He knows that God is going to be with him. He knows that God will help him. And then we see his courage. He could have stayed back and said, "You know what? I'm not going to do this. I'm scared. It's too dangerous." But instead, he chose courage. He chose to step up and face this giant. And remember, it was a very real possibility that David could have died. There was no guarantee that he would win. But because he had faith, and because he had courage, he didn't give up. Now, think about that for a second. If you're facing a difficult situation in your life, and it seems like there's absolutely no way out, no hope at all, well, I want you to remember the story of David and Goliath, and how he refused to give up. No. 3. This story teaches us about strategic thinking. We see that David doesn't want to go into battle in the way that everyone else was doing. Everyone thought you had to wear heavy armor. You had to have a sword, a shield, and that's how you fought. But David says, "Wait a minute, that's not the way I'm going to do it." Instead, he uses his sling, right? He uses the thing that he practices with, that he's good at, that he's skilled at, and he uses that as his strategy to defeat this giant. What's the lesson here? Sometimes we need to fight the giants in our lives using our own strategies. Sometimes you have to do things your own way in order to succeed. Sometimes you can't just conform to what everybody else is doing. You have to think strategically and say, "This is the best way for me to do this." No. 4. This story teaches us about overcoming fear. When David went out to fight Goliath, he was afraid. There's no question about it. In fact, he was terrified. But he overcame his fear. He pushed through his fear and doubt, and he still stepped out, and he still fought. He still believed in himself. And guess what? You can overcome your fears as well. So many times we let our fears control us. We let our doubts hold us back. We let the worries in our head keep us from stepping forward. But I want you to remember the story of David and Goliath, and how David pushed through his fear to do what he had to do. No. 5. This is a story about a moral victory. Look, sometimes in life, you may not win the victory that you want, right? Sometimes you're going to get knocked down and knocked out. But you know what? You can still win the moral victory. And the moral of this story is that it doesn't matter what people say about you. It doesn't matter how big the challenge is. It doesn't matter how much bigger and stronger and smarter your opponent is than you are. What matters is what's on the inside. It matters how strong your heart is, how strong your will is, how strong your mind is, how much you believe in yourself, how much you believe in your God, and how much you believe in your ability to succeed. So I want you to never, ever give up. I want you to be like the underdog. I want you to have faith and courage like David. I want you to be able to think strategically and overcome your fears and doubts. And I want you to always, always, always believe in yourself. That's the lesson of the story of David and Goliath. Hey, I hope this video has been helpful to you. If it has, I would love to hear about your story. Please share your story in the comments. Thanks for watching.